Good morning. Welcome to DCC Today, our Monday, Wednesday, Friday information program for the Dungeness Community Church family. I trust you have had a great week and are having a good Friday. We like to start every day with a photo of the day, and this one was taken by Rosalie DiMaggio. She sent this to me a few days ago, and she said she took this on an early morning hike up at Deer Park. And if you haven't been to Deer Park, it is a beautiful spot to go. It's kind of the parallel peak to Hurricane Ridge. In fact, there's a trail, Obstruction Point Trail, or the Grand Ridge Trail, I should say, the Grand Ridge Trail that goes from Deer Park over to Obstruction Point, which then goes to Hurricane Ridge. Really pretty place, although the road is a little narrow and windy. My wife actually hates going up that road, but it is a beautiful view once you get there. So Rosalie, thank you for sending that picture. Some announcements for this week. Sunday morning, we'll be continuing our series, Faith Has Feet, working through the book of James. As I announced last week, we now are posting the service online early. So if you're an early riser and you would like to get up and do church first thing in the morning, however early that is, it'll be there and available for you. So plan on that for Sunday morning. Don't worry if you're a late riser, it'll be there late as well. Then we're sending out a survey. We should be coming out this week. And someone asked, are we doing survey, overload for people? I think this is only the second all-church survey we've sent. We did send one to all the ladies, but this survey is actually really important for us as we are planning toward fall. It has all to do with what your thoughts are, your interests are in terms of Sunday worship and any kind of in-person gatherings we can do. I mean, all of this stuff is subject to, the ever-changing rules for distancing, but we really value your input on this. And whatever you do, don't think to yourself, oh, I'm sure they know what I think about this. We probably don't. So please fill out the survey and send that back in. If you don't see the survey come in your email or you have any trouble filling it out, just contact the church office. Once in a while, somebody runs into a snag on one of these, and I'll hear later that they just kind of gave up and didn't finish it. And usually the fix, if that happens, is pretty simple. So I don't think you'll have a problem, but if you do, contact the church office. And then summer celebration. Summer celebration is our big picnic. Well, usually it was our big picnic for August 30th, an outdoor service. This year, because of the coronavirus regulations that are on us right now, we've had to change up how we're going to do it. And our plan up to this point has been to meet at the James Center at Carrie Blake Park. That's where we did it last year. It's a beautiful facility. We're going to do away with the potluck. It'll just be a bring your own picnic kind of thing. But because we're now still in phase 2, and we thought we were going to be in phase 3 and probably phase 4 by the time the picnic got here, we have a backup plan. Just in case we're not able to do that festival seating at the James Center, we have a site lined up where we can do a drive-in service. It's the Cole Farm, and we can park a lot of cars there. And so we're planning a backup plan just to be sure that we can have some kind of a service all together on August 30th. So stay tuned. We will give you more details as soon as we have that nailed down. And then baptisms. Last year we did a bunch of baptisms as part of the summer celebration. We want to make that available again this year. There's one person I know of already that wants to be baptized, but we're going to do it a little different because hey, it's 2020. Everything we do this year, we do different. So if you're interested in being baptized, send me an email or give the office a call and let me know. And we're going to be doing these baptisms in a way that will be safe and responsible. We're actually going to do them separate from the service that morning, kind of a smaller private baptism, but we're going to do video and it's going to be really nice. So if you would like to be baptized, you never have, maybe it's something that you've put off for a long time. In fact, last year we baptized a whole bunch of people who had put it off for a long time. And maybe you were watching and you thought, wow, I should have gone and done that. This is your year. just give me a call or give the church office a call or drop an email, and let's have you take that step of obedience in your walk with Christ. This week we had a couple more of our town hall meetings. Thank you for those that participated. It's been wonderful, and we plan to continue having some. So if you have not yet signed up for one and you want to come and be part of it, contact the church office. Now this is Friday. I'm actually recording things a little bit ahead, and I'm not even here right now. That's the beauty of video. I'm actually away for a couple days. We are having a family get-together with our kids, and so just have 2-3 days together, but it's going to be really great for us, and I hope that you've got some great plans for this weekend as well, and just enjoying a lot of beautiful weather that we're getting. Well, how about a devotional thought for the day? This comes from Philippians chapter 3, verse 8. Paul says, "I count everything as loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus my Lord. For his sake I have suffered the loss of all things and count them as rubbish in order that I may gain Christ." When we think about 2020, I think this will be a year that we reflect on a lot of things that we've lost. Special vacations, special occasions to celebrate, graduations. For some people, it's been financial loss. But Paul, looking at his life and all of his accomplishments, said, even if I were to lose everything, he says, I'd be willing to count everything as a loss compared to the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus, my Lord. In fact, he says, I have suffered the loss of all things, and I count them as rubbish. If you think about Paul's life, there was a lot of loss for him. He went from being a highly respected and up-and-coming young Pharisee that had a great future ahead of him to being a man who was literally hunted to be put to death because of his faith in Jesus Christ. And yet Paul said, all those losses, I don't mind any of them because I still have what matters most. I have Christ. And I hope whatever losses this year has had for you, that you still are able to give thanks for the fact that you have Christ and he has you. Well, today we're going to have another installment in our ongoing Friday series of Sergeant Robert Bourquin, who at the time he recorded this was the oldest surviving veteran of the battle for Wake Island in World War II. And Bob is going to tell us about a little bit of prisoner of war humor, if you can believe such a thing, but it is funny.
The Japanese used to take maybe a 4 or 5 man squad with an officer and charge into our barracks to catch us playing cards or to pick up contraband. Anything that was unusual was contraband. In fact, if you had a pencil or a piece of paper, they would take that. Well, anyway, these guards would come in and they'd move us out of the barracks, and then they'd search the whole barracks. And they'd even climb up in the roof and the attic looking for radios and stuff like that, an antenna. But anyway, one of the guards took a ladder and got up on our roof. And he's up there, and another guard came by and took his ladder to another building. So he's ready to get down, so he starts calling to his buddies to put the ladder back. And the Japanese word for ladder is hashigo. So he's yelling at his buddies and nobody's paying any attention to him. And I was walking along the side of the barracks there with a fellow I knew from North China, a Marine. I think he was from either Texas or Mississippi, somewhere down there, a Southern boy. And this guard on the roof pointed down to him. He said, "You," to my buddy. He said, "How she go?" And this Texan looked up at him. He said, "It goes okay, you darn fool." Oh, we had to laugh. Near the end of the war, the Japanese knew they were losing, and they were afraid that their troops would be pushed out of the area where we were being held in Kangwon, near Shanghai. So they loaded us aboard prison trains, or a train, and they were the small gauge railroad. And they, in this boxcar, they had the center section by the door. They had wire from wall to wall, barbed wire, and there were 50 men there and 50 men in the other end of the car and 10 guards. And it was so crowded, there was straw on the floor. It was so crowded that only a couple of guys could lie down at once. You had to stand up or be on your knees so that you took up less space. So I took my pants off and tied my pants legs in a knot under my chin and hooked the pants up on a nail on the side of the boxcar. And I'd sleep that way with my head in the sling. So it was very, very boring, mile after mile of riding this train. So anyway, I got to thinking, we got to do something funny to shake things up a bit. So I told John Blandy, I says, John, let's do something and really shake these guards up. And he says, what do you want to do? And I says, let's build a radio. So we got our Red Cross box and some empty tin cans and string, and we, I don't know where we got the charcoal, but we had a piece of charcoal, probably from one of the little burners we built. But anyway, we got up close to the wire, and the Japanese corporal said, "Naniga, naniga," what are you going to do? And we said, we're going to build a radio, going to hear Tokyo, hear news on radio. And he said, baka, baka, that's fool, And so we put our Red Cross box down, and Blandy then took a needle and thread and sewed on some big buttons for dials. And I wrote some numbers on it, and we had this wire, and we had 2 halves of a butter tin, and we put a string through the thing and down into the radio, into the box. And the guards are coming over there, and they're looking at us, and they're having a ball. They're laughing, they're baka, 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 And so we said, okay, we're going to build this radio. What we didn't know that at that time, our bombers were hitting Japan almost on the hour, air raids. So anyway, and the Japanese were tuned to that station. So we had this guy in the back of the car, in behind some guys, that had a tin can, and he spoke fluent Japanese. So John says, he's all ready. And so I put the earphones on, and I start turning this button, and this buddy of mine with the tin can says, Tokyo, 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 Binijuku, Binijuku. Attack of 29s, B-29s. And at the same time, the Japanese are listening to the radio, and there is an actual attack of B-29s. So here I am, and this Japanese tries to grab my radio, and I pull back. I said, quiet, quiet. And this buddy of mine goes, all the static, and then boom, boom, boom. Bombs falling. Well, anyway, the corporal of our guard detail couldn't take it anymore, so he pulls the emergency stop handle. They stopped the train out in the middle of nowhere. They moved us out of the car, took us out and set up a camp table. And they got our radio on it. And the interpreter comes over and he says, "Where is radio?" I says, "There's radio." "That is not radio." I says, "That's our radio. We know you have stolen radio somewhere, hidden radio. Where is radio? We heard the same broadcast." So I thought, well, I'm going to go right along with this. I says, "Well, we got the news." I said, "That's our radio." "Impossible." And they kept us out there for at least an hour or more, questioning us where this radio was, and they're tearing this boxcar apart, trying to find this hidden radio. We're laughing our heads off. Oh, they slapped us around. They didn't get the humor of it.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. Again, I trust you have a great weekend. I am pretty sure that right now I'm having a great time with my kids. And we will see you Sunday morning. As early as you want to get up, we'll be there for Sunday worship. And we'll be back here again on Monday for DCC Today. So until then, God bless.